In this video, we're going to take a look at how to create a line plot in Python and how we can use that to help analyze our data needed for supervised and unsupervised learning. So first of all, why do we want to visualize data? Well, typically we want to pre-process data, which is really where a lot of our work happens in data mining for business intelligence. So we need to look for any outlier data, we need to look for missing data, duplicate data, and a lot of times we can get an idea of that by looking at the data. But sometimes the data set is huge, and a plot or some type of graph will help us with our analysis. We're going to use matplotlib as our plotting library, and the data set I'm going to explore is from the city of Cincinnati Streetcar Ridership. So we'll take a look at by day for 2023 and also by month from inception to current day, and see what we can figure out from the data. So first of all, do the necessary imports. I went ahead and started a Jupyter notebook and I put these imports in here. So at this point, I'll simply follow along and add what we need to get our plot. I've saved the streetcar data locally, so I can simply open it with pd read CSV. And we see after a simple head command that we have indeed imported the data. And we see fairly straightforward set of data here. We have a service date, which we can likely do a bit of manipulation to turn that into an index or some kind of grouping signal, something like that. Then a vehicle, which we don't really care about the vehicle. It's just indicating there are different streetcar vehicles. And the number of people who got on that vehicle. Now, one trick that we'll notice is that because this has a date and a vehicle, there are going to be multiple numbers for each date. So we're going to need to do a bit of grouping and aggregation to get a count across all vehicles for a specific date and then also for a specific month. Let's split out that service date column by month, day, and year. One thing that's going to work in our advantage here is that it uses 2 digits for the month, starting with the very first digit, which is digit number 0, or character number 0. And then a slash, and then 2 for the day, and then 4 for the year. So it's a predictable string, and should be fairly easy to parse. Let's try to pull out just the day. Note what happens here is I'm referring to the streetcar data frame, the service date column, and then I'm telling it to treat it as a string and grab the character starting at position 3 inclusive and ending at 5 exclusive, which means it does not pick up that 5. Remember, we also start counting with 0. So 1 is in the 0 position, 0 in the 1 position, slash is in the 2 position, and then 1 is in the 3 position, 2 is in the 4 position, slash is in the 5 position. So sure enough, this gives us a clean look at just day. Let's do the same thing for month and year. And year, you see we're able to parse a similar way by asking for the character beginning at position 6 and stopping at the character just before position 10. That gives us year. So once again, month should be fairly straightforward. And now we neatly have month, day, and year for the entire data set. Now that we have the date broken out to year, month, and day, we can do a fairly handy group by where we group by year, month, and day. And then we say aggregate. We want to do an aggregate function because if we're grouping, by definition, we're taking several records and collapsing them down into one. So what do we do with those several records? How do we account for them? Well, here we're saying sum them. So what are we summing? We're summing the ons field, which is effectively a count of the people who boarded a vehicle. And then we're saving that into a new data frame called streetcarByDayDF. And notice that group by does not have any underscore or any capital letters, and then we simply pass in a list of columns we want to group by, and then the aggregate function. I'm using sum. You can also use mean and several other SQL-like aggregation functions. And then the field we want to aggregate on. And we see sure enough from here, we get a concise data frame of streetcar ridership by days. That was pretty straightforward, so let's do the same thing, but let's aggregate by month, which a year and month, which might give us a bit better view over a longer period of time. Once again, you see aggregation level now by year and by month. Now, plotting this is ridiculously easy. You see that we have this line graph that's appeared now, and we can look for some patterns in the data, and that will help us determine how to model the data. So one pattern that we see, which we're probably going to see a lot in a lot of the data sets that we're looking at, is a steep drop-off around spring of 2020 until looks like sometime around the summer of 2020. And no doubt, okay, well, that was COVID. That was when the streetcar was shut down. So if we're looking to do some kind of supervised or unsupervised learning, we might want to take that section out unless we think that we're going to have another lockdown like that again. But if we don't take that section out, it's going to make the data look a little bit funny. Now, it's interesting if we cut that out, we can kind of see what happened with streetcar ridership is, you know, it's new, it's cool, everybody rides it, and then it's not new and cool anymore. But then it really started picking up on interest, and then lockdown, and then not everybody's back downtown again. But then all of a sudden, streetcar ridership hit several record levels. So we could do a bit more analysis on why is that. Let's take a look at our ridership by day, but that would be a lot of points if I did it by day since the inception of the streetcar in 2016. So I'm going to filter by just 1 year so that we can look at some seasonality across 1 year. A neat thing about this combined index we have is we can filter by just one index. So note what's happening here. We're saying, okay, let's create a new data frame. We're going to start with our existing streetcar by day data frame. And then we have a selection criteria or a filter criteria in here. We're saying, let's take a look at the index. Make sure that the index is in 2022, but we're specifically looking through that very first index, which you see over here is year. So by doing this, we have all of the ridership days for just the year 2020. Now let's plot it and see what we have. Okay. We see something interesting here, which is fairly normal data, but then a series of peaks and a very significant peak right here. And here again, this is the value of actually looking at the data, especially if we have a large data set. We might not see a single record that appears to be a bit of an outlier compared to the others. But now that we're graphing it, we see that we have a significant outlier here and several other significant outliers throughout the year. So if we're trying to model streetcar ridership or streetcar demand, how do we deal with this? One important thing is to figure out why did we have such a spike then? We can see that point's about 3/4 down the chart, and we're going January to December. So we're looking sometime about fall. Is there something that might explain why we had such a jump in ridership in the fall? Well, it was the fall of 2022, and guess what happened then? It was Blink Cincinnati, which just happens to follow the streetcar line very well and brings a whole lot of people into town. So we know that this was a special event. And as a matter of fact, if we look at the other peaks that we have, they roughly line up with Labor Day fireworks, perhaps Taste of Cincinnati, Oktoberfest, and all of those other festivals. So by looking at this graph, we see that we really have two different audiences of streetcar riders that we want to model. We have, possibly even three. We have the special events, which require their own modeling. Do we want to, during special events, do we want to, if possible, put another streetcar on? Do we want to be more proactive about streetcar line blockages and things like that to make sure that the streetcar is running right? Do we need more information people there? Because the people who are riding it during these events are probably people who have not ridden the streetcar much, if at all, and are not very familiar with the neighborhood. And those are the outliers. On the other hand, if we look at the normal ridership, it's likely a combination of downtown employees and residents and maybe even some people on business travel. And that would be an audience with its own separate set of needs, like the ability to know when a streetcar is coming so that they could time a 60-minute or 90-minute lunch appropriately and not stay over. But on the other hand, they likely know where the streetcar goes and they've ridden it before. So this kind of analysis can help us say, okay, we have the raw set of data. Now, if we want to model it in supervised or unsupervised learning, what is the best way to do it? All in one, or model the outliers separately, or take the outliers take them off altogether? So I hope this video has been helpful, and I'll look forward to reading your comments. Thank you.